Good afternoon. Welcome to the Theosophical Society in Atlanta. Each part of the globe plays its own part in the overall biological, emotional, mental, and most importantly, spiritual evolution of the unfoldment of the awareness of humanity as a whole. The contribution of the East in this process has profound significance for us in the West when understood in proper context with our own. Our topic today is specifically influences from the Middle East and how they have affected us scientifically, philosophically, and spiritually in the past as well as in the present. Our speaker today is a student of religion, martial arts, and yoga for 30 years. His studies have taken him to 8 continents and before a dozen teachers. His martial arts experience have enabled him to be the bodyguard for His Holiness the Dalai Lama, Palestinian spokeswoman Ashiwa, and political activist Ralph Nader. His physical education experience often enables him to be consulted concerning children with learning disabilities. He is the author of 2 books and several medical journal articles. His time is currently divided between teaching and writing and enhancing the development of his pet ferret, Sweetie Pie. Please welcome Alan Pittman.
Okay, so today we're going to look at what is in the West. Middle East is also deeply, deeply connected to something else. Okay. And this connection is very important to understand what's happening in the Middle East. Now, I thought about how I was going to present this, so I might ask you to help me with certain things so everybody's involved. The main thing is I want you to have the idea of looking through a mountain range or in a valley or between trees. In other words, I want you to have a sense of perspective or dimension while we're looking at these things. The tendency is to look at everything on the board in a flat way. So I want you to use your imagination and try to see things in a deeper way. And we're going to start with a quote. It comes from a Central Asian school that's about 6,000 years old. And the quote is, say it with me. Try that. So, although we're talking about contemporary issues and things that are what people call relevant is generally what's in the newspaper. But what's in the newspaper is prone to one particular set of laws, and those are the astrological laws of cause and effect. What happens on the planet is affected by laws. Mars is getting closer to the Earth, so what is happening? Take a guess. War. Okay. Sometimes not war, sometimes enhanced concentration. So in your mind, I want you to hear the ambulance, but don't get involved with it. So we're going to look at variables through about a 6,000 year period. But while we're doing that, I want you to take a breath periodically and not become identified with the subject. Just say, well, this is very interesting, this is very fascinating, but pull out and use this phrase. Now, this phrase is representative of a school of philosophy that came out of Central Asia, and it came out of this place. Does anybody know where that is?
Is it Afghanistan?
Okay. Bukhara. Now, Bukhara was a very famous learning center, and a long time ago, they had one of the first information storage facilities around the year 800. So what you have on your computer, they had on parchment paper books. Now, what's significant about Bukhara is it is in, where again?
Afghanistan.
Afghanistan. So Afghanistan has, Naqshbandis were named after Sheikh Naqshband. Sheikh Naqshband was a Muslim, okay? And he stepped out of Orthodox Islam and he said, the experience of religion, the living experience of religion is more important than any dogma because God is alive. Does that make sense? This is his doctrine. He was a Muslim. Okay. He was not a fundamentalist Muslim. He wasn't a fundamentalist Christian. He wasn't a fundamentalist anything. He could be described as a radical Muslim. He wasn't the first. He was one of many. So the Naqshbandi order is the umbrella order for over 50 orders of Sufism. And these orders are all non-fundamental, and they're all based on the interior experience of the person. And the head of each order is a particular sheikh. And these orders are spread throughout Central Asia and the Middle East. And this particular order now has its main people placed in Afghanistan to reconstruct the country as I'm speaking to you now. So that's the good news. So there's things going on that don't quite make it to CNN that are remarkable. Now, to give you an idea of how remarkable, in Afghanistan now, under the auspices of this man, does anyone know who the Aga Khan is? A Khan is a what? King. Yeah, he's king. The Aga Khan is the head of the third order of Islam. And Islam, we have three orders, three major orders: Sunni, Shiite, and the one that you don't hear about that is extremely important is Ismailis. Also identified during the Crusades as the cult of the assassins.
The cult of the what?
Assassins. They were called that because the Crusaders, in order to discredit them, said they were hashish eaters. But you must realize that this was a standard thing for a Crusader to say about someone from the Middle East to discredit them. It's like saying he's a hippie or a drug addict. We don't know that they did use hashish at all. And in their long history, they did assassinate some key figures, I think about a little over 100 in a long stretch, 300 or 400 years. The Ismailis stepped away from the Sunnis and the Shiites, which are basically one fundamentalist and one liberal. Okay? The Ismailis pulled out. They had a sheikh who pulled out a little before the Crusades, and he established a fortress. And in that fortress, he established laboratories, libraries, and he housed an academy. And the academy was the first time, I believe, that Greek philosophy was brought into Islam with a great generosity. And the Western sciences and things from the West were brought in, and they were classified, cataloged, translated, and stored by the Ismailis. Okay. So I want you to know that at one point, the Knights Templars, who were a part of the movement of the Crusades, some of them were invited into the fortress of the Ismailis and given parchments and pens to study. These are the enemy, quote. Now, I can get you references for all this, but rather than bore you with footnotes, you can come to me afterwards. I'll tell you where the information is for that. But that did occur, so there was exchange, even during the most hostile period of history between the Muslims and the Christians, and that exchange took place through which group? Yes. And the Ismailis also eventually maintained a quick connection to these people. The Naqshbandi.
That third group